Hey everybody, welcome back and happy Memorial Day. I'm here with my family and we're gonna basically share to you today, obviously people from the American history, and as you know, Rika's Japanese and she'll be sharing somebody from Japanese history that we shouldn't forget. So without further ado, let's go ahead and meet everybody and they'll share what they got. Alright, so mom's going first.
Okay, I picked somebody off the internet and I never heard of his name before. His name is Foy, F-O-Y Draper. He was born in 1911. He was a track and field star at the University of Southern California, where he held the record for the 100-yard dash. He became part of the gold medal relay team alongside Jesse Owens in the Summer Olympics in Berlin. Draper enlisted in the Army Air Corps in 1940 and joined the 97th Squadron of the 47th Bomb Group of, Tunisia? Okay, so Draper flew off a mission to strike German and Italian ground forces in Tunisia, taking part in the Battle of Kasserine Pass. His plane was shot down by enemy aircraft and he was buried in the North Africa American Cemetery in the Memorial Carthage of Tunisia. That was interesting. So that's who I picked.
All right, okay. Next up, where's Sean? There's really Sean's not here. Oh, okay, there he is.
You're next.
Okay, Sean. Or who's next?
No, Peter's next.
Peter's next. All right, Pete.
It's pretty easy for me. It's my uncle who died in
1992.
He was in Germany. He was a B-17 pilot, and but 2 months before the war ended, he got shot down. Which the war was over with 2 months left, and he got shot down. And I was thinking about this. I don't know if his remains. I think they got his remains back somehow. I don't know, and I don't know if any of his crew got out of the plane or not, because they all had parachutes. So I know he didn't survive, and I'm not sure if the whole crew perished or if it was just him. And your mom got to see some pictures of him in his uniform with my grandparents. My dad had a few photos that he dug up from somewhere. Ever seen those?
Mm-hmm. No.
And so the interesting thing about World War II, that my aunt and my other uncle and this uncle that died all served in Europe. And they all got to meet one time during the war.
Wow, that's
one time.
Cool. Yeah.
One time. My other uncles flew 86 missions as a bombardier in a B-17 and made it home. And my aunt was a nurse in, I think it was in England. And she saw some pretty horrific things when she was young, just a young RN. And so I want to say it was either 84, 85, or 88, somewhere in the mid to late 80s. A letter from Germany comes to the mayor of Farley, Iowa, and explains that we were in a one-room schoolhouse when the plane went down. We heard it crash, and we don't know if any of the family's still there, if any of them are living or whatever, but we thought we would say we have some stuff of theirs that we recovered from the aircraft. And if anybody would be interested, we can send it to you. And so everybody was kind of suspicious. So they gave it to my dad, and Paul, who died, was very similar to my dad. He looked the most like my dad.
Wow.
The two of them looked the most like. The other siblings don't look anything like. There's not a family resemblance there at all. But anyhow, gave it to my uncle, who had served in World War II, and they thought, is this family after something? Is there an ulterior motive here? And so my uncle, who served in World War II, and they said, we can show where he went down, where the little one-room schoolhouse, which isn't there anymore, but we can show you where we were at. And I think he got whatever stuff they had. It wasn't a lot of stuff. But somehow they found a manifest with who was all on that plane. And they were able to determine which ones passed away. And so he went over in, I must have been in high school, so it must have been the mid '80s, like '86 or something. So him and a buddy of his that served in World War II went over there. So it had to be pretty tough for him to see that.
Right.
But he went over, and there was no ulterior motive. The family just said, "Hey, it's history. We're getting older. We might think that there's some family members that still want to know whatever happened to him and stuff." And I don't remember. I wish I knew more about what he had learned when he was over there. About were the escorts not there, or how did he get shot down? So that's my story.
Did he get dog tags or something?
That's my guy. They may have gotten his dog tags. They may have gotten some flight logs and stuff. And like I said, they were able. And I'm sure that that's not the only family members. But I mean, if it was somebody who was from Dallas, how are you going to send something to Dallas? They were able to send it to the mayor of Farley, and it got to the mayor, and the mayor read it and said, "Oh, this is for the Sherman brothers." So. Yeah, it's kind of sad because they say he was the most like my dad. He would have. I don't know if he would have went into business with my dad or not. It's hard saying, but it was 22 years before I was born. So, but he has it. He has his grave, and they put flowers on it. Oh, you know what? They didn't do the poppy thing today. Usually, at other Catholic masses, they do the poppy.
They were in front of the grocery store today.
Oh man, they were yesterday too. I should have done it. So anyhow, they usually have red poppies, but the Legion, the American Legion, which it wasn't named. The Sherman Peterson, the Post was named for Peterson or for Sherman, but it was a guy from World War I, which nobody really knows a whole lot about. Because I asked my mom when I was home to see my dad, and she said they don't know a whole lot about him, but it's named after a Sherman, and it's spelled Scherman. So they got a big picture of Paul from World War II at the American Legion, and they go out and they decorate the graves of all the fallen soldiers at the cemetery in front. And tomorrow they have a tribute. There's like 6 or 7 cemeteries that the American Legion from Farley. There's a Legion in every town, but the Farley is the only one that goes to all these other little small cemeteries and does the 21 gun salute.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. He is not forgotten. All right, move across here. Sean, you ready?
My great uncle Russell Long.
Wow.
Died in the South Korean or the Korean War. Pretty much, he jumped on a grenade while his squad was around.
Wow.
Pretty much, you go blown up. Your pieces are mailed back to you.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
they got all mailed back to my grandmother. And in the little town that my grandmother and my great uncle are from, a little place called Black Fork, they have a parade every year at Memorial Day. And Russell's picture is one of the ones that's on the vehicles, and he's got his own little, pretty much tiny little statue inside the town. So
Wow.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Nice, yeah.
Never shared
Now,
that with before.
is it your uncle or like it would have been one of your grandparents' brothers or sisters?
my grandmother's brother.
Okay.
Cool. Well, he's not forgotten. Beater's got something special for us, a little bit different.
So mine's not as cool as the last 3. I was Googling for people to talk about, and I came across an article that talked about people who are still alive that are celebrities who served, which I thought was kind of cool because I didn't know some of these celebrities served. So I'm just going to go over the list. Drew Carey served in the Marines. Ice-T served in the Army. MC Hammer served in the Navy. Let's see, Mel Brooks, Army. Chuck Norris, Air Force. Montel Williams served in the Navy for 22 years. Let's see, Bill Cosby, Navy. Let's see, Clint Eastwood served in, I'm not seeing it there. So we'll skip on to the next one. One of the ones Sean and I were talking about was, where is it? Pat Sajak. Sajak.
I knew that.
Pat Sajak. He
Air Force.
served
You
in
did not know that? I knew that. Yeah,
Air
he
Force.
Was, Radio. He was a radio DJ.
Mr. T
Yeah,
served
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Army. What else? What else is cool here? And
That's cool.
Tony Bennett served in the Army.
I
So
didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's a lot of them have served for a couple years to 20 plus years. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
That's
And
cool.
did you know that your great grandfather, my mother's father, served in World War One?
Wow. Yeah. And he made it back?
He made that.
All right. There you go. Cool. And now Rika's got somebody
From Japan.
from Japan.
Yes, so I picked Eiji Sawamura. He was actually a professional baseball player. And yes, he played for Giants in Japan. And he was really good, and Major League wanted him to sign the contract, but he refused it because he wanted to stay in his hometown. But after that, he enlisted in Japanese army, and he was killed there. He was only 27 years old.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, he was still popular, especially for Giants fans in Japan.
Cool.
Do you know where he died at?
He actually died in Japan, near, it says,
One of the islands? I mean, like Okinawa or
Yakushima. Yes, Yakushima, one of the island.
one of the islands?
Yes.
Because I was gonna say, because
Yeah, he
we
was.
never got to the mainland. I mean, it was.
Yeah, Yakushima, so Kyushu area, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, World
That's
War II.
interesting.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And now it's here. You can film me, I guess. Mine is. I actually posted it a while back. I think on Facebook, but I know some of you don't use Facebook. I don't use it anymore either. But I posted it a long time ago, and I found out about it. My old coworker, who another guy telling you about just now, who's a Vietnam War vet and a Iraq War vet. His name is Eddie Smith. Eddie, hey, what's up, man? His uncle was also in Vietnam and was given the Medal of Honor.
Oh.
And you know the theater at Schofield Barracks
Yes.
is named after him.
Oh, really?
You kidding?
Yeah, so Elmolindo Smith was his uncle, who was also in Vietnam. And I can read his, I
Is
guess,
he
his,
from the 25th?
he's Army 1st Platoon Company C, 2nd Battalion, 8th Infantry, 4th Infantry Division. And it says here it was on, this is I guess on this Medal of Honor citation. He got for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. During a reconnaissance patrol, his platoon was suddenly engaged by an intense machine gun fire, having the platoon on 3 sides. A defensive perimeter was hastily established, but the enemy added mortar and rocket fire to the deadly fusillade and assaulted the position from several directions. With complete disregard for his safety, Sergeant Smith moved through the deadly fire along the defensive line, positioning soldiers, distributing ammunition, and encouraging his men to repel the attack. Struck to the ground by enemy fire, which caused a severe shoulder wound, he regained his feet, killed the enemy soldier, and continued to move about the perimeter. He was again wounded in the shoulder and stomach, but continued moving on his knees to assist in the defense.
Oh my God.
Noting the enemy massing at weakened points on the perimeter, he crawled into the open and poured deadly fire into the enemy ranks. As he crawled on, he was struck by a rocket. Moments later, he regained consciousness and, drawing on his fast, dwindling strength, continued to crawl from man to man when he could move no farther. He chose to remain in the open where he could alert the perimeter to the approaching enemy. Sergeant Smith perished, never relenting in his determined effort against the enemy. The valorous acts and heroic leadership of this outstanding soldier inspired those remaining members of his platoon to beat back the enemy assaults. Sergeant Smith's gallant actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army and reflect great credit upon him in the armed forces of this country. So, yeah, he's not forgotten easily because he's at Schofield Barracks.
Yeah.
I mean, his name is, I think it's Sergeant Smith Peters or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I thought it was kind of crazy that my old coworker, that was his uncle.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that sounds. You almost see like in a movie whenever I was reading that, and like how he survived and went through all that. So pretty intense.
So, 2 things.
Yeah.
Anybody ever seen Hacksaw Ridge?
I think I did. I think we did see that. That was the one where they went to Japan, right?
I don't know where it was at. We got it on. I don't know if it's the whole movie though. It's on A&E. It was on A&E.
I think that's the. I think
It's
that's
where the guy lowered all the people down.
Yeah.
So that he's in Medal of Honor. And if you've not read that book Unbroken, if you're not a reader, you still got to read that book.
Unbroken.
Oh yeah, it's
Are you ready
we
to?
have it.
It's
Everybody,
really good.
everybody, my mom.
You gotta read the book
My
before you
mom,
see
my
the movie.
dad, all of my sisters, my aunt or my first cousin, her husband. And when we lived in South Carolina, there was a lady that came up and she was talking about a reading club. I said, "Did you read Unbroken?" She's like, "Oh God, yes, it was fantastic." I said,
Can't
"Oh,
put the book down."
book." So we have it. If you're very interested, the movie does not do anywhere justice to the book. You have to read the book because the movie you can't capture all the stuff that happened in the book in the movie. The movie would be 5 hours long. So, but he wasn't a Medal of Honor winner, but he's very similar to, who was the guy you picked? Louis Zapparini is this guy's name. He just died about 3-4 years ago.
So he made it.
Oh, he made it, but he was in Japan, and there was the bird is his name, and he was just brutal to him. But you have to read the book.
Okay.
You have to read the book.
You heard it, guys. Read the book Unbroken.
Read the book Unbroken. If you've never read it, read it. It's definitely well worth your time. It's very, very.
So there you go. That's the video for Memorial Day. Let's remember those that have fallen for us before.
Right. Bye. Okay.
Hold up, ready? Mom's ready. Mom forgot that she wanted to share something with all of you guys, so here it is.
I wanted to share a verse because I put it on Facebook, but no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. John 15:13. So happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.